See, that was funny because I actually studied Latin and English, and I wanted to become a professor for that. I was like, damn, it's cool, but it's not really my passion, you know? It's like, all right, it's like the lesser of two evil, you know? I remember I went to an RSD hot seat because it was in Vienna, it was in my city. I watched it, I sat there for a couple hours, and just the more I was sitting there, I was just like, that's what I want to do. That's where the life is. I want to game. I want to do it even more than I have been. I want to do it in an almost professional way. I was dumb because I quit college. I was like, all right, this hot seat changed my life. I'm gonna quit college. So I quit college, and I was good in school. I was, you know, my family was all like, okay, he's gonna be the professor. And I had a friend of mine, Andre. He was a professional poker player, and I'm like, dude, teach me playing poker. I want to learn how to play poker online, so I can travel the world and, you know, game girls and not having to worry about money. So I was kind of into this poker thing, and I started a YouTube channel. I started a little YouTube channel where I would, you know, like practice how to speak in front of a camera and how to like do pickup and stuff like that. And it's actually funny because I had a job next to university, and it was cool because it provided me with an apartment. And I was doing this job, and I quit college and was like, now I could full-time game and I could focus on like building my little YouTube channel or something like that. And it was funny because my employer one day called me in and he's like, yeah, so we found that YouTube channel of yours. And he's like, yeah, you know, that's not cool, you're fired. And I'm like, oh, well, so I guess you guys are not paying for my apartment anymore? He's like, no, you gotta move out. I'm like, cool, when? And he's like, tomorrow. So I was there, like literally all that happened within 1 week. I quit college, so no more education. I lost my job, no more work, no more money. And I was about to become homeless. So like, I was like, damn. Shit's getting really real here. And yeah, it wasn't the best of times for me, to be honest. It was actually funny because I was total RSD fan at that time, and I did internships for RSD. I think at that time I already did 4 internships at once. They were all unpaid, you know, like helping out with the forums and stuff like that. I remember, so here I was, broke, no money, no education, no more place to stay. I was actually able to fight my way through having 2 more weeks at my apartment. And I got this call by an RSD affiliate, and he's like, hey, you know, we've seen you doing cool stuff with the internships already. You seem very motivated. You're this Austrian weird dude that just loves us. How about you come to Miami? And I'm like, to do what? And they're like, to assist Tyler. And I'm just like, Tyler knows who I am? Yeah. And I'm like, sure, when do you want me to come? Like next season? And they're like, tomorrow. And I'm like, all right, give me 2 weeks. And I knew what I had to do in these 2 weeks. I had to go back to the Austrian countryside just to meet my parents and tell them what was going on. And I also told them that I need money. Here I am, like arriving at my parents' place, and they're like, oh, hey, nice to see you. How's university going? I'm like, oh yeah, I quit. Anyways, I need $5,000. And they're like, wait, what? That's a joke, right? Because I was always the good kid. We sat together for an afternoon, and I think it took me 4 or 5 hours to explain everything to them. Like, okay, you might have noticed I got pretty confident within the last years, and you know, I had a couple of girlfriends, and they're like, yeah, you know, we just thought you grew up. And I'm like, no, actually, there's this thing called pickup and getting to know girls, and I learned that. And and there's this thing called RSD, and they teach guys, and they have YouTube videos. And then I showed them a Tyler video. It's like, and here's the thing about Tyler, he's this fat, balding ginger, and he's still good with girls. And they're all like, I mean, come on, show a video of Tyler to your mom and dad, and they're like, who is this guy? Like, he looks weird, and he has this beard, and I'm like, and yeah, this guy invited me to work with him, and he's from the internet, and it's Miami, and I need the money. And they're like, wait, what? But it's literally, through the course of this afternoon, I was just able to communicate such passion and such excitement about this opportunity that they were like, you know what, Max, you've always been the smart kid in our family. You've always done the right thing. Whatever you want to do, you followed up with it. We don't think it's a good idea, but we do trust you. That you're gonna fucking rock it. I borrowed money from my parents. I borrowed money from my brother, from my friends, and from my bank. And eventually I had enough money to get on this fucking airplane to Miami. Here I was, literally within 2 weeks, everything changed. No more job, no education, no more house. Getting the opportunity by the best company in the world, sitting on that airplane in a middle seat, with $15,000 of debt on my bank account. I was 22 years old. And man, I was batshit scared. I landed, and I remember an RSD affiliate picked me up from the airport, and I was like excited. I held my little backpack in my hands, and I'm like, can you tell Tyler that I arrived? And he's like, sure. And he texted Tyler, and he's like, hey Tyler, Max is here. And Tyler texted back, I quote, who's Max? Things went fucking quickly, you know. I didn't really get a lot of instructions on how to assist. They're just like, here's the infield camera, you gonna film Tyler infield. And I was like, what? And all of a sudden, we're like in the biggest nightclubs in the world with like these like 7-foot ex-NFL bouncers. And I was supposed to film, and I remember I got caught literally the first 4 times. I got tackled in the club from the fucking bouncer, dragged into the back room, being questioned. And I'm just like, God, man, I am not able to do this at all. I was like, this is the best shit ever. I'm not ready for this, and I totally suck at it, but I'm here with RSD, and I'm here with Julian and Tyler, and oh my God, I just met Jeffy. And I actually I left a voice message after the first night on we had like a little friends group on over a WhatsApp, over like a messaging app. And the first night I went out, I think I came home at like 5 a.m. in the morning. I was walking through the sunrise, and I left this voice message for my friends, and I'm like, guys, I just had the first night, and the best night ever. And I had like almost tears in my eyes. How should I put it? I just had the best night of my fucking life. I just can't get the grin out of my face. My whole face is just tense from the brightest smile I've ever had. At the same time, I was crashing on floors. I had no money at all, like no fucking money. I was like, every time I got food, I'm like, okay, this has gotta last for the next XYZ hours, and I crashed on floors. I didn't have any comfort, like it sucked, but it was also awesome. And I didn't game a lot because I was so busy working for Tyler and filming him. So I was, like the shy dude in the background. And I remember once, Tyler, he was doing boot camp, and he's like, okay, Max, I'm gonna go upstairs. It was like a 2-story club. And he's like, okay, Max, you're just gonna stay down here. You can game for 10 minutes. And I'm like, I could game for 10 minutes. And I'm just like, I like run off, and I do this like mixed set. It was like 1 girl and 1 guy. And Owen's girlfriend back then, she was there with me. And I was just like spilling my game, having fun, and the guy was like, what the hell is going on? And I remember Owen's girlfriend, she was watching all that, and she just laughed her ass off all the time. And she's like, oh my God, Max, you're so funny. Your game is so good. And I was so honored because, she knew all the RSD guys, and she said Max's good game. And then what she did was like the following week, every fucking day, she told Owen how good my game was. She's like, Max is such a good game. I never knew that. I just know him with the shy camera, like the shy camera guy, And I didn't know you have game, Max. And she was just like, she hammered that in, that my game is so good. And I think that might have inceptionalized something in Tyler, because he kept looking out for that kind of thing throughout my assistantship. And he kept pushing me into situations where my game would just kind of be displayed. And then we got to LA, and I lived with Tyler, and I assisted him every day. Every day we would sit in the car, we would drive to some fucking quinoa sushi place. And I was always just sitting there driving and talking to Tyler, and he asks me stuff, and I'm like, Tyler is asking me this stuff. And I remember, I was his camera guy, and I set up a shot for him, and he talks about a topic. He's like, all right, man, pop in a shot. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, stand next to me. You're gonna talk about the topic now. I want your opinion on this on video. And I'm like, I'm shooting a video, Tyler. And he's like, dude, you should make a channel, man. You should call it RSD Max. So I popped the new channel, and he's like, dude, I should be in a video with you. So we recorded the first video together, and I'm like, as I edited the video, I screenshot it and I sent it to my friends. Like, guys, I'm filming with Tyler. It was just so out of my mind. It was so, this is not real, this can't be. And I remember I assisted him for 6 whole months, shooting videos whenever I can. Whenever I was done with his editing stuff, I had the choice, should I go to sleep or edit my stuff? So I edited my stuff. So many hours of sleep just cut, and all this traveling, and it was cool because I saw so many places in the United States, all these big cities, Chicago, LA, Miami, obviously. And I also went to places like this one here. We're in Honolulu, and I went to Hawaii, and I'm like, this is in Hawaii. And I saw the Pacific Ocean one night. I just walked to the ocean in the middle of the night, and I just this is where game brought me. This is all I wanted to do 2 years ago, was just getting good with girls, just having sex with some cute girls, and all of a sudden I'm at the other side of the world, 12 hours time difference, staring to the Pacific Ocean, having met my heroes, working with them, being part of them. That was so freaking amazing. And I remember I did that for 6 months, and I got invited to a business dinner with Nick, the CEO of RSD, and Tyler. And I've been to business dinners before, you know, there's all the instructors, and I, as the assistant, was there as well. But this time it was different because it was just me, Tyler, and Nick. And I'm like, where's everybody? And they're like, we're gonna talk about you now. I'm like, sure, what's wrong? And they're like, okay, we want you to become the new instructor. You're gonna go on a 6 months trial period, you're gonna travel through Europe, you're gonna do boot camps, and you're gonna build your channel, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, when does it start? And they're like, it starts right now. Like Nick was he was actually pissed that I asked him this question. We scheduled my Europe tour and my first boot camps, and they were all sold out. I was like, these people want to do boot camps with me. This is crazy, this is not real. And I was partying in Vegas and all these girls, and I gamed so hard, and I was just like, I was the happiest person in the world, and I still didn't get paid, and I still crashed on floors because I was in a trial period. I remember at some point I had to like steal bananas from a grocery store because I was too broke. And I was like, dude, I can do this forever. Like, I would do this shit for free for the rest of my fucking life. So I went on my first world tour, and I saw all the cities I've ever wanted to go to. You know, I was in Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Stockholm, Krakow, and I'm just like, I'm doing this, and I just don't even have to pay for it. Like, people pay that to do. This is so amazing. And a year later, I think it was literally in that same week, a year later, I came back to Miami. I had my team built, the Team Max. I had my brand was doing well. I had just had the Max Hot Seat coming out. I was doing a free tour there. I was doing boot camp there. I'm like, this is where it started. I'm back 1 freaking year later.
Max was a guy who just was extremely keen. Just like running around, just like hitting it like so hard, you know, and that's a very rare quality. Most people will not hit it that hard. They'll complain all day they're not getting results. They don't want to hit it that hard. So Max was just a guy that, you know, you never see him complaining. He'd just be taking massive action. Max, when he became an instructor, it was interesting to see him go from like the happy kid kind of running around to the sort of alpha male guy. Everything from like a brooding side to a more dominant side to, you know, in many ways expressing more joy. In game, Max is a guy who's able to block out the noise and just go for it. You can see he's reached that spot where it's sort of effortless for him. He's hit that high level that everybody thinks about getting to, and he lives that.
The first thing I bought was shoes. I'm like, I bought myself a pair of shoes, and they're nice and they're not broken. And I bought it with money that I got from doing something that I love. That feeling that you kind of realize like you can live off something that you would do anyway, all day, all night, that's the best feeling in the world. That's mind-blowing. And I stared at people walking down the street, and I'm like, this is it. I'm living it. I'm living it.